back at the Pepsi Center. Alex Auld has been putting on a show here. Watch these saves as he stops Sakic. He stops Ian LaPerriere. Watch this moving side to side. LaPerriere tries to be patient. Now a quick dish and a fire by Spatos. Alex Auld has been making all the difference here in the second period.
They're making some noise in Denver. Pretty intense battle also besides the great goaltending. I guess it hasn't disappointed in terms of intensity?
No, it's really not disappointing. There's been a lot of power play and penalty killing. One way, the Avs can't connect. They do have one power play goal, but certainly a battle for loose pucks, and we're seeing some dynamic goaltending.
Shots 24-16 in favor of the Avalanche, but we are tied at 1. 2.5 minutes to go in the second period. John Michael Lyles. Tanguay, bad angle, all didn't know where that puck was, but his defense and forwards carry to center. Trying to dance in was Bieksa, but he's blocked, and it's Olin backpedaling for Vancouver. Anson Carter played for 3 teams in 2003-2004, has found a home in Vancouver. Nice move, but couldn't get the final shot off. 19 goals this year for Carter, 28 is his career best. Bertuzzi, high shot fought off by Abisher, and Bertuzzi is hurting. Play goes on. Brett McLean from the wing, poked to the wall by Auld, and it's Morrison on the counterattack. Near wing Burrows, dropping Allen, rebound, Ruutu scores! Jarkko Ruutu off the Brian Allen rebound, and Vancouver leads 2-1.
And an opportunistic goal for Jarkko Ruutu as he cuts in here as we see Burrows dish it back. A shot by Allen, and Ruutu zips in here and tucks it home behind Abisher, with 3 defenders by Colorado looking on, perplexed. What were they looking at as Ruutu came through the slot, the most dangerous area? They just let him go. They were all puck staring. And a huge goal by Jarkko Ruutu. Bertuzzi goes off as he gets hacked on the hands, and he was upset. And Vancouver comes right back with a goal to make this game 2-1 with 1:19 to go in the second.
We'll take another look at Todd Bertuzzi. You saw the ice pack being applied with either the hand or wrist. As play goes on, Hayduk, the wrist shot, and all the save. And here is what happened to Todd Bertuzzi just seconds ago.
Well, we'll take a look as Abisher, but watch Bertuzzi here. He already dropped his stick. There was a slash there. As the puck was going to the net, the follow through by the stick came right across the, as you see where he's applying the ice, right across the collar of the glove. Sometimes your wrist is exposed there, and it was just a tough situation for Todd Bertuzzi to get a slasher. I don't think there was any intent, though, even though the fans like it.
Kessler, his shot high off the glass. A couple times the Canucks have gone high glove side, missing the target. There's Ruutu, high blocker side.
Well, I think you're onto something there, Dan, because Abisher's getting frustrated. He's punching, kicking, swinging now because he knows that he's being outplayed by Alex Auld. He's sensing that in the game. He didn't want to give up that goal, and I think that puck got away from him a little bit, and the rebound went out for Ruutu's goal.
Hitting picking up here in the final 20 seconds. Ryan Kessler on the attack. Skate save there by Abisher. Sedin back for Olin. 5 seconds to go. Brett Clark has to eat the puck. And it's the right play. Time winds down. But Brett Clark and the Colorado Avalanche down 2-1 despite carrying much of the play there in the second period.
Well, the Avalanche certainly carried the play. They had 3 power plays that period, and I don't know. The Vancouver Canucks just basically survived that period. With Alex Ahl, we talked about him, but it was the opportunistic goal with a simple play, getting the puck to the net. But Alex Ahl made all the difference in that period as the second period comes to the close. Fantastic effort by Alex Ahl to make this a 2-1 hockey game for the Vancouver Canucks.
The action is not over on HDNet. Todd Bertuzzi will be back for the Vancouver Canucks. We'll talk with one of the longest tenured Canucks, the veteran Trevor Linden. That and much more. NHL coverage on HDNet cruises along, and we're pleased to be joined by Vancouver Canuck forward Anson Carter. And Anson, we see in that second period of play, it looked like Alexander Ahl from high above the ice rink was the star in that second period. How was it from the bench and the ice?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Aldi made some big saves, especially on the PK there. Usually your goaltender is your best penalty killer, and he definitely was in the second period.
Anson, 19 goals this year, playing between the two Sedins. Looks like you really found a home. How do you see it?
I agree. Those two kids pass the puck so well, and I definitely think they're underrated as hockey players in the National Hockey League, so it's good to see them finally get the attention this year that they finally deserve.
Heading to the third period now, what's going to be the theme for you guys as you head to the third? What's Mark Crawford going to go over?
Just stay with our good habits. Keep getting pucks in deep and keep pounding their defensemen. I think we get the puck in deep, put pressure on them. Our second guy is the key. I think if we read and cut off the half board and our third guy reading up top, I think we'll be able to sustain pressure in the offensive zone.
Good luck in this third.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Anson.
Thank you, Anson Carter, for the time. His Canucks leading the Avalanche 2-1. 2 periods complete here in Denver, Colorado. Having some fun here in lower downtown Denver. The Avalanche fans, though, don't like to score. The Canucks lead 2-1, but a man who will have some fun tonight, Vincent Salerski of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Congratulations, he's the jersey winner tonight, brought to us by the Hockey News, an autographed Avalanche sweater. The signature Ian LaPerriere. He had a pretty good tussle tonight, didn't he, Mr. LaPerriere?
Yeah, he's had a couple tussles, and he's getting his nose dirty, as crooked as it is, but Ian LaPerriere is making his presence known for the Colorado Avalanche.
Enjoying a career year right now is Ian LaPerriere. This being Saturday night, this is a big night. Here in Denver, Hockey Night in Canada, the national carrier in Canada is all over this game. And, you know, there's a lot of other games that we've seen. Beginning in the afternoon, the theme continues for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They didn't just lose, but they get embarrassed by the New York Rangers.
Yeah, the New York Rangers are playing good this year. They're a first-place hockey club and put up a big number, 7-1 against Pittsburgh. And a lot of talk about Crosby, but you know, probably more of an emphasis can be the second game as we see there as Tampa put up 6 on Philadelphia.
Dallas beats Detroit in a shootout. Dallas in their last game beat these Colorado Avalanche in a shootout. They are deadly in the extra session are the Dallas Stars. The Canadiens edge the Maple Leafs 4-3, and the New York Islanders over the Boston Bruins 4-3, and Philadelphia makes a statement at home over the San Jose Sharks.
Well, just to go back to the Montreal and Toronto game for a second, Toronto's been mired in a slump. They haven't won in 8 games, and Montreal coming into your building and beating you 4-3 at home is a big boost for the Montreal Canadiens, but the Toronto Maple Leafs are on a big slide here, Dan. I don't know when they're going to stop it.
Well, there is an important part of time of the schedule right now. Will momentum bring you down, or will it bring you up? A guy who has seen the ups and downs throughout his brilliant National Hockey League career, the leader of the Vancouver Canucks, still to this day, a great pivot man, a great face-off man, Trevor Linden. We had a chance to catch up with him.
Trevor, 17th season in the National Hockey League. This year, compared to the previous 16, is this the most dramatic change you've seen in the game?
I think so. I think the year off really allowed everyone to step back a little bit and re-examine how our game was played. And I think, you know, as bad as the lockout was, I think down the road we'll look back and say that it made our game a lot better. And I think the product is better. I think the ability that the players have to work with the officials, with the general managers on how the game will be played in the future will be a big bonus.
Do you think we would have seen things like the shootout or the elimination of the red line without the lockout?
No, not at all. I think that had we come to an agreement during the season, we would have probably thrown the game back on the ice as it was. And as unfortunate as all was, it gave us time to, and a lot of people time, whether you're a manager, a referee, or players, and it allowed us to look at how our game had to get better. And as dramatic as the changes were, I think we kept the integrity of what the game looked like, but made significant changes that has made the game better. And I think it's better for the people to watch, and it's more fun for players to play, which is important.
Your Northwest Division, this battle seems pretty fun. Have you ever been in such a tight division race? It is only January, but it's pretty close.
Well, it's frustrating as our team looks at it. We're not doing ourselves any favor. We play well in stretches and drop some games, and we're right in the thick of things. And it's even Minnesota's 6 points back. So real good teams in Calgary and Edmonton. Of course, Colorado's a good team, and should be a fun one tonight.
You play opponents 8 times a year in your division. Would you like to see that go back to 6 or 5? Or
it was something we looked at pretty closely in the summer, and you never know what something's going to look like until you actually implement it, whether it be the red line or the different lines on the ice or the obstruction. And I think that for the hardcore fan, he would like to see. I know in our market, they'd like to see more of the Eastern teams come through. We won't see the Tampa Bay Lightning, the former Stanley Cup champs, and so I think the fans lose out a little bit on that. What they gain in the rivalry, I'm not so sure of. So it's something that we'll continue to talk about for sure.
Your market, you've been in Vancouver, it seems like forever, since the mid-'80s. You look at that market. Is it just right behind Montreal and Toronto in terms of popularity in Canada?
Well, I've had the fortune of playing in Montreal, and I can say that anywhere in Canada you play, you're going to get the scrutiny. And I think that that's a good thing. It can work both ways. When you're winning, it's great. When you're not, you're going to feel the heat. So, and I think any player will tell you that's how they'd like it to be. And the profile of the Vancouver team is just, really skyrocketed. I noticed it when I got back in 01, and it continues to grow.
Trevor, lastly, key injuries to your team in the midst of this long road trip. Does that change your role or the different roles of these 4 lines in the top sets of defensemen, what they have to do?
I think it changes everyone's role a little bit. I think you're going to see some people playing maybe in spots they weren't playing before, whether it be on the second or first or third line. Power play, everyone gets moved up a notch. So it's unfortunate. Obviously, Mark is a big part of our team, and Eddie, Matt Cook, and Richard Park. But, you go through injuries, and you have to have people step up. So it'll be a big test for us, and I think it's a good challenge.
Trevor, thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you.
It's the well-spoken leader of the Vancouver Canucks. The NHL will return on HDNet right after this.
Beautiful downtown Denver. Nothing settled yet between these bitter rivals. The Canucks lead the Avalanche 2-1. Great look as we come inside the building on our cable camera. Innovation and technology, showing off the beautiful pictures and the beautiful game right here on HDNet. And the game and the highlights look pretty good there in the middle period. John Van Beesbrook.
Yeah, certainly a different feature and different look from the cable camera. State-of-the-art, instituted by HDNet. And as we take a look at these highlights, the main person is Alex Auld, Robin Milan Hayduk, as McLean is on the doorstep looking for a rebound. Nice little dish by Sakic there, but he dished it to the wrong guy. Salo throws it up the boards. Puck comes back, though, to Laxinen, to Svatos, to Sakic, and a nice kick save by Alex Auld as Henrik Sedin is in a good defensive position. Rob Blake making a quick pass, dumped up by Sakic to LaPerriere, and patience by LaPerriere. Days gone by, he would have shot that, but he's shown a little bit more patience this year with 15 goals, and Alex Auld doing the splits to keep him from jamming that puck in. And watch this play, quick along the boards. McLean finds Fatos, trying to look for number 30, but Alex Auld is there again. And here we go, the quick break by Anson Carter and his speed. McLean jumps over the top of him here to try to take position, and Carter says, I'm going to be a little bit more patient. And David Abisher out-patients him as he makes him shoot it off the post and wide. But watch this nice little play by Bertuzzi, and Abisher again being patient out at the top of his crease to rob Daniel Sedin. And here we're going to see the goal. A nice spring pass by Morrison to Burrows, and a shot straight to the net, and Jarkko Ruutu is in the right place at the right time. Bertuzzi not happy, throwing his glove as he was slashed on the wrist.
Here are the important numbers through 2 periods of play. The Avalanche have scored the lone power play goal of this game, but they've also allowed a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, they've allowed a shorthanded goal, which probably propelled the Vancouver Canucks in this game to keep them in the first period. At that point, they were killing a 4-minute power play. But look at the scoring chances here at the bottom. 5-3 for the Avalanche. Probably looked like there was more scoring chances than that, but as the statisticians come up with the quality scoring chances, what's going to happen in the third here, Dan?
Felt perhaps overtime might have to settle this dispute between these two teams, or perhaps a shootout. We haven't seen a shootout on HDNet since way back in October between Phoenix and Nashville. Maybe it's time, because you know they're not going to get much vulcanized rubber between Auld and David Abisher the way they're playing.
Well, certainly Auld has been the star of this game so far, and but David Abisher was called on to make a few good saves at the end of that period, but he couldn't make them all, as a simple play getting pucks to the net. As you see Mark Crawford saying the same thing. You need to get pucks to the net, guys, and its proof is in the pudding, because Jarkko Ruutu was there to make this a 2-1 hockey game. And Joel Quenneville has to be wondering, what's going to spark my club tonight? And as we get ready to drop the puck here at the Pepsi Center, we're in for a good third period.
Todd Bertuzzi bending the ear of our referee as he's lined up with Brad May, the former teammates. Begin this third period. Both teams begin. And here we go, right off the draw. Danny Highnote and Kevin Bieksa. Both these men know what to do in a fight. Highnote has the size advantage as they continue to dance. What a unique look at this battle. Highnote landing. Bieksa misses one. Now the punches to the back of the head. Back and forth they go.
Certainly Dan Highnote trying to set the tempo for the Colorado Avalanche. He's known as an agitator, and Bieksa is not going to shy down from anyone. He's been known to want to go at it with Brad May, but right off the face-off, these guys just square off. I mean, it was almost like it was set up there. Dan Highnote just skated from the center position. They must have had words there. We were watching May and Bertuzzi, but Bieksa, who's no slouch in any fights, Highnote doesn't fight as much, but certainly willing there as they carousel around and try to land a bomb, and Highnote landed one there.
Seemed to be a lot of separation between the two men during that fight. They both were effective at holding each other off.
Interesting how that all started.
Well, no manpower lost. Each player receives 5-minute fighting major. Highnote and Bieksa for the Canucks. McLean, Tanguay, and Ian LaPerriere up front for the Avalanche as McLean tipping it in.
I kind of look at that high note running after him. Is that not an instigator? And Bieksa was just standing there. I mean, maybe they had words and the refs heard that.
Good point. Except it was Bieksa that tried to land that bomb right off the hop that Hinote effectively blocked, so maybe that's what they deem.
Either way, we're in for a battle here in the third.
It's intense. 19 minutes to go. Salo and the Vancouver Canucks leading 2-1. Anson Carter is offside on the play as that puck came outside of the zone and he brought it in, as Anson doesn't necessarily believe that call.
Well, talking to Anson in between the second and third periods, 19 goals, 14 assists, 33 points. Certainly has found a home here in Vancouver. Or there in Vancouver.
He was a Ranger, a Capital, and a King
in a short period of time.
All in one season. He certainly is happy to not just find a home, but a home on a great line with the Sedin twins. As Joe Sakic up front here with Spatos and Laksinen.
Call those two Sedins underrated. Both of them are in 40 points right now. Daniel with 42 and Henrik with 46. I mean, somebody better keep watching those guys because they've been in the action here in this game, certainly.
Anson is as a character saying that the Sedins are quiet, but he told them, look, if we're going to play together, you have to start talking. We have to have some fun. Brunette walks, fires, off a leg going wide of the wall. Brisebois holding in. Alex Burrows trying to poke it out, gets some help from Kessler. He knocks it back to Allen. Reversing to Baumgartner. Tipped ahead by Carter. Slicing towards the goal. Abisher takes the initiative to clear it.
Well, as Colorado goes to make a change here, they have to look to set the tempo high. Physical body checks, get the puck in deep and work along the boards.
Bertuzzi hasn't done much tonight on enemy ice. He had a great chance, but it was snuffed out by David Abisher last period. This is Bertuzzi, nice pass. Tyler Belk to Green, returning to Bertuzzi. Two Avalanche defenders on him. Green, right back to Bertuzzi. Carrier, takeaway, and Colorado slowly chips it out to center.
Well, Vancouver begins this period, and this is their fourth game of a 7-game road trip. Lost their first three. Two of them won. Well, St. Louis, Columbus, 2 games they thought they'd win, and then went into Detroit and lost. Talking to Trevor Linden, he said, well, we deserve to lose those 2 games against St. Louis. So here they are, 2-1 in the third period, looking to grab a big 2 points to get themselves back on the rails.
Now, St. Louis has only won twice in the entire month of January, both wins on home ice against the aforementioned Vancouver Canucks. Marek Spatos will allow it to roll out to center. 3.5 minutes gone in the third period. May missing the check on Olin. Product of Bowling Green University. Rob Blake will shoot it in. Strastic replacing Blake as the Canucks on the attack. And Henrik Sedin, that little head fake at the blue line, threw his teammates in ahead of the playoff side.
Yeah, and Henrik Sedin, who has been a really good player, especially in this game tonight, you can't think that these guys are going to sleep or they're going to put it in your net. They've made a lot of nifty little plays around the net. They look for late trailers, as he did on the goal by Matthias Ohlund for their first goal of the game, which was short-handed, a nice little turn-up move. They're very shifty. So the Avs got to watch those 2 players because they can make this game a 3-1 game easily.
The shifty Twins on the attack. Daniel Sedin. Anson Carter. Down to Daniel Sedin. Henrik goes to the front of the net. Daniel, the shot, blocked, swatted out by Hayduk.
They certainly like those little down-low plays around the net.
Just the little touch passes. Almost a nice move, but Strastic fends off the Sedins. Milan Hayduk fires from the wall. And all the save.
Well, Hayduk is so dangerous coming down the off wing there. a couple quick steps and then a quick wrist shot. Don't think that those are easy saves as he comes down there. Alex Saul looks sharp again here in the third.
You watch that quick release from Milan Hajduk, you think perhaps he learned a little bit from watching Joe Sakic as a youngster here in Colorado.
Absolutely, down his off wing, and that's where Joe Sakic has scored a bulk of his goals. He likes coming down the off wing, as we see David Abisher covering up a cautious play in their own zone, fed back from his defenseman. But just talking about that for a second, I mean, Milan Hajduk is a shifty, crafty player in his own right, and they turned that puck up so fast, which allowed him to just get a shot on net. But David Abisher, who we saw in that last clip, has been strong himself. So good, hard-fought hockey game.
See the great technology, the cable camera showing us the action at a different angle as Matthias Olin shoots it up the wall, carried by Ryan Kessler. Going to the net is Burrows. Kessler elects to shoot it. And Ian LaPerriere knocking it loose. Carlos Krastic tentatively over center. Wedges it in on the backhand.
And both teams making quick changes there.
Linden on the counterattack, but offside. Ahead of the play was Josh Green.
Well, I mentioned both teams making quick changes, and Trevor Linden coming out, expecting to lead this hockey club, was the captain of the Vancouver Canucks in the past, now switched over to Marcus Naslund. That's because Trevor had gone on to play for different teams. He played for the Islanders, played for, who else did he play for?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Montreal Canadiens, briefly, and has come back to a place where he started his career in Vancouver. But teams looking for matchups right now is the point that I was trying to make. Quick changes in the third period, but the matchups by Quenneville and Crawford become very important at this stage of the game.
Vosivainen heels back. Brunette in across the line, hands on to Hajduk. A solid defensive steal there by Sammy Salmon. Kept in. Brunette walks, fires, and that goalmouth feed just tipped wide by Hajduk, and the Canucks clear. This will be an icing as Osivainen strolling back to touch it. 13:43 to go. The visiting Vancouver Canucks clinging to a 2-1 lead as the Avalanche came close to tying it. Well, did Vancouver get away with one here, John Van Beesbrook?
Oh, they certainly did. Brunette has to get it over the stick of Salo, and Hajduk right there on the doorstep. The Vancouver Canucks got away with that because their offensive players were way outside the blue line. The puck was turned over, and you saw Brunette trying to be patient. Hajduk 2-on-1 there. A golden opportunity missed by the Colorado Avalanche.
Sakic against Linden. Sakic wins the faceoff. Blake the shot. Blocked by Tyler Bout. Blake and Lyles have been quiet offensively tonight.
Yeah, they really have. But Vancouver has been doing a good job getting in shooting lanes and blocking pucks. Blake has got a few shots through on the power play, but from a long distance, and Lyles hasn't really been in the slot or jumping up to make a difference. And you got to give credit to Vancouver for that as well.
The Avalanche, the most combined goals by defensemen in the National Hockey League. Blake and Lyles a big part of that. Bertuzzi walks, fires, way outside of that blue crease. David Abisher making the save.
Yeah, and that's a good word there, Dan, is way out. Abisher sensing a slap shot by Bertuzzi, and this is called gapping out. When a player winds up, you want to be above the crease, and he's way out there. No problem. You're not going to get scored on by being that far out. Cut down the angle, and he was able to control the puck. Nice, smart play by David Abisher, and that shows that consistency.
scoring was opened tonight by the Avalanche's Andrew Burnett on the power play. Matthias Olin answered back in the first period with a shorthanded goal. The go-ahead goal from the Canucks by Jarkko Ruutu. Scored in the second period. That's where we stand. Vancouver leading 2-1. Enjoy the sights and sounds here in Denver. Penalty on the play. It looks like it's going to be on the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, certainly something's being contested as we see Captain Joe Sakic come over.
Olin has also gone to the box. So it looks like both are going, Bugner and Olin.
Bob Bugner, that shift, was playing as a forward. We talked to him earlier about playing as a forward and as a defenseman, but look at, he's got a cut on his beak there. But here's Olin and Bogner. Olin hits him from behind. What's the call on Bogner? Because his stick came up, maybe? I mean, certainly he can't do anything about it. I mean, Olin comes in from behind, smacks him, and then his stick comes up. But what could possibly be the call on Bogner? Perplexed.
Yeah. Well, some more open ice for these skilled skaters. 4 skaters aside. Kessler and Morrison up front for Vancouver.
Vancouver certainly carried the play. They've been more physical, more determined for loose pucks. So let's see what happens here.
Morrison, a drive off the post, rebound, they score! Ryan Kessler, the opportunist. Huge power play goal. Vancouver now leads 3-1, and this should begin some controversy with the penalty to Bob Bugner.
It certainly should, but Vancouver deserves this. Morrison just wires the puck. Amateur makes a save, but it falls up, almost goes in there, but Ryan Kessler again. Nobody on Ryan Kessler. Watch as the puck hits the post there, comes back. And Lyles can't get a stick on, but you got one guy and 3 Colorado Avalanche players looking at him. I mean, that's not good defense, especially by Rob Blake, who's a premier defenseman in this league. He was just staring there, waiting for Lyles to do it. And that's what they've done this period. With the exception of High Note, they've been standing around. And Vancouver deserved that goal. 4-on-4 still.
Well, perhaps Brett Clark was listening to you because there he wasn't standing around, just standing up and forward at the blue line, but Colorado is whistled on an ice.
Well, with 10 minutes and 17 seconds to go in this third period, the Vancouver Canucks are up 3-1 on determined hockey. They've been physical. They've been winning the battle for the loose pucks, getting more opportunities, and that's why they're ahead 3-1.
We approach the halfway point of this third period. Carlos Krasnich seeks some refuge in behind his own net.
Well, Ryan Kessler certainly got paid off for a scrap earlier on with Ian LaPerriere, really showing something as a young player.
Vaananen's shot deflected wide. Antti Laaksonen. Vaananen centers. Spatos too well covered. Merrick Spatos, side of the goal. Vaananen, backhand shot. Alex Auld, not a problem. The Vancouver Canucks with a 2-goal lead. 9:39 to go in this third period as Vancouver increased their lead to 2 off of this easy one for Ryan Kessler. The Avalanche are out shooting the Canucks 29-26, yet they trail 3-1. This is how the goal scoring occurred back in the first period. A little over 16 minutes in, a power play goal finished off by and shorthanded. Matthias Ohlund answered back for Vancouver. On to period number 2. Right place, right time for Jarkko Ruutu driving to the net.
46.
And the Canucks led 2-1, and here is the goal here in the third period. Ryan Kessler all over David Abisher and the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, we were perplexed by that call on Bob Boughner, and they called it a diving penalty. So I'm still perplexed. And I don't know how you get checked from behind to get a diving penalty.
Blake.
It really led to that goal, right? So important part of the game. Dan O'Halloran made that call, so I guess we'll have to live with it.
That goal from Kessler occurred during 4-on-4 play. Boughner wasn't whistled for the diving penalty. It would have been a power play for the Avalanche. Auld slapping his stick on the ice to alert everyone that Ohlund and Boughner are coming out of the box and to be aware of them. As Brisebois back to fetch.
Well, we're at a point in the game now where Colorado has to take some chances. With 8:58 and counting to go on an icing call here, they're going to have to start pinching a little bit more. They're going to have to start jamming the puck a little bit more on Alex Auld, who has really been a stalwart for them. As we look at the Colorado bench, they look a little stunned themselves. And Vancouver, to their credit, has put them that way. They've come in here to the Pepsi Center, quieted the crowd with all the booing for Bertuzzi and all the rest of the stuff that's happening. They've totally blocked it out. The captain isn't in their lineup.
Bertuzzi having a problem with some fans along the glass, points him out to the referee and says he wants him kicked out.
Well, now's not the time for him to be focusing on the fans here in Colorado. I know that Todd's been through a lot. You touched on it earlier in the show, and we'll just leave it at that because everybody wants to get past that.
Well, you see the attitude here in Colorado. They have not remembered the incident from March of 2004 when he broke the neck with Steve Moore.
Well, certainly Mark Crawford would be concerned about this because he wants to get that clock rolling for the Vancouver Canucks. And the man they call Bert, they don't want to bring more onto him than they have to. I mean, he's played through a lot of adversity. But here we see fans getting involved, probably throwing something at Bertuzzi. Security's got to get a handle on this too. Crowd certainly was anti-Todd Bertuzzi coming in, but there's no place in the game for people to throw things on the ice, no matter who the player is. And I know that for Todd, I can't put words into his mouth, but we know that he has shed tears over the incident, a lot of remorse. Moore hasn't played. The most important thing is that hockey's back. We've You've had a year off, and it's time to support your team and not be anti-Todd Bertuzzi, because that's the crowd needs to get into this game for their hockey team.
I think some in Colorado might say, though, that Steve Moore is not back, but we'll see how the Canucks respond. Bertuzzi right in front of Abisher. Makes the stop. We're back to this game, and it's Matthias Olin backpedaling. Go! Over the line, Ruutu. Accidentally puts it out of play. And this face-off will come back out to neutral territory.
Well, let's look at this as the puck squirts away from Brisebois, and Bertuzzi comes in. Just kind of fans on a little bit. But Abisher still called on to make a save. Brisebois was able to recoup and get a stick on him. So Brisebois has been a veteran player in this league for a long time, and they know how to recoup themselves when there's a little bit of a mix-up. So, but Colorado's got to go totally on the offense as we have a penalty upcoming here. I don't know if somebody's been chirping or something's happened, but we'll see what is happening. Or maybe it was just a high stick.
Sakic to take the draw against Henrik Sedin. Loxonen pries it loose. Blake can't hold it in. And with Anson Carter galloping after him, John Michael Lyles, a quick pivot. Will slide it in. Auld sets it up.
Well, they went for a quick change. Vancouver did after the draw win, so they want to get Bertuzzi back out there with Kessler and Burrows against Sakic and Tanguay. Tanguay's been quiet tonight.
Sakic fires. And Auld fights it off. Deep in his own end, Alex Burrows.
Joel Quenneville senses he needs some offense, so he throws Tanguay and Sakic together with Perrier. But now changes it up. He comes back with Brunet and Spatos.
Spatos guns it towards the goal. All the glove save. Bieksa tossing it up the wall. Clark will hold in. Vatanen knocking it in, but Matthias Olin and the Vancouver Canucks had it for a moment. Not long. Brunette to Spatos. Can't penetrate the slot as he was fended off by Auld. Richardson down to Brunette. Bieksa gets physical. Brunette slips the check. Backhand shot. Stop. Rebound. They score! On the rebound, it's Marek Spatos. The Avalanche are to within one.
What great puck control by Andrew Brunette down low, who swoops behind the net. Let's watch him here. He fights off a check. Kicks the puck to his stick, goes around the opposite way, loses his defenseman. Little patience, gets the puck to the net, and watch Spatos fight off a defender and poke the puck in on his backhand. Great individual effort by Spatos to get loose, and on his backhand, flips it over all to make this a 3-2 game with 6:35 to go.
Not bad for a rookie. The 23-year-old has his 30th of the season. He leads Colorado in that department as Marek Spatos.
Well, they needed a goal from one of their big scorers, and they got it from Spatos, but it was the work by Andrew Brunette behind the net, spinning off of the defender and getting that puck to the net. Unbelievable work by Colorado. Let's see if they can follow it up.
Ruutu clears it, approaching the final 6 minutes of regulation. Strastic will touch it for a Canuck icing.
Let's see who Quenneville throws back out here. He's going back with his line of Bogner on the right side with Highnote and May. So he wants to give his big lines there. Their scorers a little bit of a break. Countering Morrison, and counting Morrison and Bertuzzi and Ruutu.
Morrison wins the draw. Todd Bertuzzi off the stick of Jarkko Ruutu. Blake swiftly shoots at the center.
What that means is Quenneville wants to get Sakic and Tanguay up against another line, probably against the Sedins. So interesting matchups taking place as to the teams make changes.
Brisebois. Philippe-Perrier on to May with Sakic. Brad May hits the late man Brisebois. Wrist shot. And Alexander Auld makes the chest stop on Patrice Brisebois. Down to 5:36 to go in this third period. Looked like the Canucks were in control. Then Marek Spatos came knocking. Rebound goal. Avs with